Todd, Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Messer, James Money Jr., Pampton Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man in jail 6 times, and 6 times the prosecutor did not talk in court. What are the names of my prosecutors? And you employees of the District Attorney's Office, to include Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley, know the answers. But you're just staff. You're not elected to anything. Your boss, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, has looked right at the Freedom of Information Law that I'm going to read today on this Saturday, January 27th, 2024, and refused every single time because she's a freaking sociopath. That's why. How am I in jail when the prosecutor doesn't talk court? How am I in jail 6 times when the prosecutor doesn't talk court 6 times? It's because of 3 corrupt judges. Paul C. Metzer in Pampton Court, John P. Metzer Jr. in Pampton Court, and Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Freedom of Information Law on this Saturday, January 27, 2024. Documentation for the case of Christopher Child, yesterday in Pampton Court for John P. Metzer Jr. was named the prosecutor, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Freedom of Information Law dated this January 27, 2024. Documentation for the case of Christopher Child, yesterday in Pampton Court for Paul C. Metzer was named the prosecutor, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Freedom of Information Law dated this January 27, 2024. Documentation for the case of Christopher Child, just New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi, was named the prosecutor, Attorney Sandra Doorley. It's attached in PDF, just like the January 25th, 2024 documentation is attached in PDF. So January 25th, that's right here. I just read January 27th. This is the payroll for the District Attorney's Office. Who is it? You $87,000 Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips know the answer. And so do you $140,000 Public Defender Julie Sianka. And what's the problem? The problem with you two is you're in fear of these freaks and sociopaths and fanatics and degenerates at the District Attorney's Office. That's the problem. You're supposed to oppose this Leviathan, Mark. You and I, Mark, have had conversations repeatedly. I've never talked to your boss, Julie Sianka. And I've said to you repeatedly, if you're going to have the recall for this, how am I in jail when a prosecutor talk in court? Doesn't matter to you, Mark. That's why you're returning my mail to me. I think there were 10 envelopes from you, Mark. There were certainly 10 envelopes from Public Defender Julie Sianka. So when I say, who is it? Rachel Clark of the District Attorney's Office, the heroic prosecutor of Xavier Perry and Adria O'Reilly. That's real crime in Monroe County. And when you're concocting crimes for me at the Sheriff's Office and prosecuting me in total silence, you're ignoring real crimes. You, Rachel Clark, are on here. You could easily, if you're watching me, go to your boss or the administrative person at the District Attorney's Office, say, send us information to this citizen in Rochester, New York, about our prosecutors assigned to his court appearances. Rachel Clark. So, Rachel Clark, last name on the payroll, $94,229.25. Tell me who it is, Rachel Clark. So, I have different addresses where you can contact me. You can email me, cchurch@jur4gmail.com, and that's where you can send the documentation to force me into Alex Renzi, some other fanatic, where you can just summarily declare me guilty and deliver me to jail. So, 130 North Winton Road, Box 10651, Rochester, 14614. This is on the file. It's attached to PDF. That's where you send the names of my prosecutors to silence. So, I'm going to say this again for you freaks and sociopaths and fanatics at the Repulsive Shack at 47 South Fitzhugh. I have prosecutors of silence. Who is it? 130 North Winton Road, Box 10651, Rochester, New York, 14610. My email, cchurch@jur4gmail.com. Send it to me. So, I just contacted this revolting, sickening, nauseating hack, Paul C. Metzer in Pampton Court. This is what I wrote to her. January 25th, 2024. Paul C. Metzer, Pampton Court, 1985 Bad Road, Pampton, New York, 14526. James Willie Jr., Pampton Court, 1985 Bad Road, Pampton, New York, 14526. You two geriatric freaks who refuse to disclose information to me in your possession inside the disgusting little room of Pampton Court. Attached in PDF is a Freedom of Information Law document dated January 25th, 2024 with this language. 1. Quote, the documentation of the case of Christopher Chichester, Penfield Court for John P. Menzo Jr. was named the prosecutor, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. 2. Quote, the documentation of the case of Christopher Chichester, Penfield Court for Paul C. Menzo was named the prosecutor, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. End quote. 3. Quote, documentation of the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi was named the prosecutor, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. End quote. I was elevated to $210,000 Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court because of the insane destruction of my life, character, integrity by Penfield Court. At 1985 Bad Road in Penfield, New York, there isn't a jury box for a jury of 12, a witness box for witness testimony is absent. There isn't even a table for an assistant district attorney, public defender, defendant to sit. Every person inside Penfield Court stands. It's a joke. You two psychopaths operating in Jonestown, divorced from the truth and believing you represent justice. Is every defendant guilty? How many defendants are acquitted in Penfield Court? I'll contact the New York State Unified Court System in Albany, New York, USS House of Representatives, Committee on Judiciary, U.S. Senate Committee on Judiciary to force your answers. Each are incapable of an acquittal. Such an action requires thought, morality, decency, and an understanding. Monroe County Sheriff's Office is infested with psychopaths. The prosecutors never talked in court for me, yet I'm delivered to jail 6 times. Monroe County Jail, Rochester, New York, Livingston County Jail, Genesee, New York. I'm convicted on paper by lies. When I asked Regina Harper, the public defender, how long I'm being incarcerated as an innocent man at LCJ, she replied, quote, to Judge's holding, end quote. I'm confined to this jail in a county I don't live in by you, Paul C. Metzler, when a prosecutor didn't make an argument in court that I committed a crime. How is that silence constitutional? How is it constitutional for you to hold me in jail when a prosecutor failed to make an argument I committed a crime? This is the same prosecution in total silence as what empowered 80-year-old Antonio Spano of Fairport, New York, to lock me from my residence in Penfield without a court order. Everything I once owned vanished because of him, to include my BA from the State University of New York at Stony Brook, dress greens for 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division, bikes, furniture, books, clothes. All my clothes are gone because this old man and my ex-girlfriend Laura arrived Webster, New York. The criminal complaints about each are attached in PDF. Who is Neeraj Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, bald-headed Paul C. Metzler? I'll contact you in that hideous way again about these mother and son inbreds. You should have the intellectual ability, even at your crippled age, to understand that to contact 83291 Shannon Mines Sheriff's Office about a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times is the lunatic fringe of life. You, Paul C. Metzler, can walk through that park lot next to where I once lived without an arrest warrant. You have civil and constitutional rights. I didn't have 14th Amendment right to equal protection laws. You, Paul C. Metzler, concocted orders for protection for this cohabitation mother and son, who I've never met either. It's because you believe in humiliation. Layla Kumar Shah saw me in a rowing machine, Eastside Family YMCA in Penfield. She told an employee at the YMCA I don't belong as a member. I was forced to meet with multiple employees at the YMCA about remaining a YMCA member, to include Michael Avery. You have destroyed my ability to lead a normal life with these indefensible orders of protection, for which you have no guilt, shame, or remorse. I'll come to Penfield Town Court to watch you both preside soon. It'll be predictable what would happen. You'll direct the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee or other representatives to order me from that little vile room. I'll arrive in the exercise of my First Amendment right. I'll arrive to watch you each pronounce every defendant guilty when you're ignorant of the facts and circumstances of every criminal charge. Ignorance is bliss for you each. The District Attorney's Office employees copied in this email below refused to comply with the FOIL attached to PDF to include Director of Local Courts Elizabeth Buckley. She has been employed at the District Attorney's Office since 2007. She's a typical super life of psychopath, unable to understand innocence. And innocence is what you trample on every time in Penfield Town Court is in session. District Attorney Sandra Doorley must redirect defendants away from Penfield Town Court to protect innocent citizens from the inferno of Monroe County Jail. I'm in Monroe County Jail after being violently attacked by 75904 Richard Seaton, Sheriff's Office, Penfield Public Library. Send me the names of my prosecutors silence. Do you fossils understand? I'll pursue disbarment for every prosecutor silence with the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court. This goal is on the table and refuse to comply with plain language law. The law exists for my exoneration. You each dismiss this morality and fanaticism and resign. Christopher Chichester, 130 North Winton Road, box 10651, Rochester, New York. I've walked this park line in Penfield, New York 4,000 times. I'm coming back from Gold's Gym at Fairport. There are 2 of my neighbors right up here. Neeraj Shah starts to scream at me. This psychopath 50-year-old man lives with his 70-year-old mother, and he goes to the sheriff's office. Shannon Meyer contacts Steve Desmond of Brock Tree and Lawn Care, says ride distracted by the residents at his house, 26 Henderson Farm Drive. He comes outside, we're going to arrest him. It's not a crime for me to walk outside, stand right here, and say nobody else is going to walk back on rents. Do you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and Michael Rather, Kathleen Milling, William Today, and Scott Alberti understand? For me to walk outside, stand right here, say nobody owns the land, and walk back on rents. Do you understand that that's not a crime? And you don't. Doesn't matter to you. So, and I'm on a camera at Todd Baxter, affixed the 2025 Penfield Road. It's right here because I was showing images. There it is right there. I've been on this thing over and over. And you freaks, sociopaths, and fanatics, the sheriff's office, calling Lindsay Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to come to my residence when you don't know anything about what's happening. This is 2025 Penfield Road for Business Called Consumer Insights. Welly Roth is the president. The public defender sent me the images. Sheriff Todd Baxter, Sheriff of Monroe County. Is this private technology, 2025 Penfield Road, using upon me? Or did you buy it to fix it for me? He'll still refuse to answer because he's a freak. That's why. I don't have any clothes anymore. When I was a freshman at SUNY Fredonia, I went to SUNY Fredonia for 2 years before I enlisted in the Army. I took a bus to Detroit, Michigan to see my Uncle Lou. My Uncle Lou is a veteran of World War II. He lost his leg at Guadalcanal. So I spent the week with my Uncle Lou because my Aunt Teresa was in St. Louis, and I bought this shirt that said Detroit on it. He's a real hero. Combat veteran. For 40 years, he had a wooden leg. Not one complaint. The truly greatest generation is my Uncle Lou. And I'm not trying to associate myself with my uncle because I'm nothing like him. But I had this shirt that said Detroit. So I was 18 years old, and I bought on spring break 1984 from SUNY Fredonia. I don't have that anymore because everything's gone. Because of Anthony Spano locking the doors. I ran a road race. I think this was in Fairport along the Erie Canal. This particular race I really loved because of the Erie Canal. Because when you're in elementary school, every student learns about the Erie Canal. I don't have this jersey. I don't have the medal I got. I think I was second place in my age group and about 20th overall. I'm always in the top 20 in these races. I don't have any of that. Just like I don't have my birth certificate. I was born July 4, 1965, Booth Memorial Hospital in Queens, New York. I had a right. Mail an application for a birth certificate to the New York State Department of Health for my birth certificate. When I worked for Governor George Pataki, my excellent friend John Signan was the official spokesman for the Department of Health. And just like my small circle of friends, I'll never tell my friend John Signan I contacted where he used to work to get a copy of my birth certificate. This is Todd Baxter, this freak sheriff, refused to opening now. When I was demanding his payroll, and he was refusing to comply, I think I wrote the form 30 times before I finally got his payroll. This is him. I'm not just putting in some mail. This is registered mail with term receipt. That's the marker. This is the sheriff of Monroe County refusing to open his mail. And he's done this repeatedly since then. This is why he's a sociopath. This is why he's a degenerate. Taxpayer financed sheriff refusing to open his mail. Who am I prosecuting silence? Who is it? You know Rachel Clark. You know Perry Duckles. You know Elizabeth Buckley. You know Michelle Crowley with Diceman. When I don't know the grand jury is convened. How's that explained, Michelle Crowley? Because I've contacted you repeatedly about this grand jury and these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots that you want to be idiots. And what am I talking about? Because I'm talking about Michael Houlihan of the sheriff's office. Michael Houlihan of the sheriff's office, Michelle Crowley, is a perjurer. And you don't know that about Michael Houlihan being a perjurer. What am I talking about, Michelle Crowley? I exit my residence, 26 Sandra from Drive, $73,000 Michael Houlihan, and $85,000 Don Benedetto hit on the private property of my neighbor. Is that constitutional? Public defender Julie Sianka, assistant public defender Mark Phillips. Can the cops walk on the private property anywhere? Elizabeth Buckley, Mark Monahan, Perry Duckles. Can the cops walk onto private property? Houlihan and Benedetto come run away. I ran away the whole time. I'll skip over the details. Houlihan claims I swung a hammer at him in Jonestown that occupies his head. And I ran into my residence. Then Houlihan went back to the district attorney's office and the sheriff's office and said I swung a hammer at him. I'm stalked over to Wegmans when I leave my residence. Monroe County Sheriff Office employee gets out of his vehicle, knocks me down. My head slams down on the ground. I'm taken to Paul C. Metzer. I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. And I'm not told how long I'm going to be there. And then when I'm released, I'm brought to Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. It's the first time I saw the Exalted One. And the Exalted One, Alex Renzi, and his $210,000 salary, tells me there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. Either it's assault or it's not assault, because attempted can mean anything. Is that true? Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Liz Buckley, Michelle Crowley, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, those 6 names there, you're all attorneys. Is there no such thing in the law of the state of New York as attempted felony assault? You, Mark Phillips, can attempt to assault Julie Sianka in the public defender's office, and what the hell does attempted mean? If I wanted to attempt to assault, or if I wanted to assault $73,000 Michael Houlihan, I would have cracked his hammer over his fucking head, and he would have been unconscious. I've never been violent in my life. The desperation of this freak Michael Houlihan, where he has to explain what he's doing on the private property, and then they're going to have to explain what they're doing on my back porch. Michael Houlihan's involved in the death of a human being. Wesley Soper. Do you employees know about this at the district attorney's office? This lying freak cop perjurer who walks onto private property is responsible for the death of a human being. Doesn't matter to Todd Baxter at all that Michael Houlihan lied on the rope, that someone's dead because of Michael Houlihan. So Michael Houlihan can walk through this park lot without being arrested. Because Michael Houlihan is a different type of American than me. Freaks and sociopaths are coming to my residence, demand my dog. Layla Kumar shot and A-Rod shot 2033 Pemberton Road. I think the cops should come to the home of a citizen and demand his dog. About Michael Houlihan, the complaint for perjury. Doesn't matter if the cops lie on their oath, directed the grand jury, Shell Crowley, because here's the criminal complaint for lying freak cop Michael Houlihan that I wrote on July 27th that Todd Baxter's received repeatedly, that Sandra Doorley's received repeatedly. I'll be in jail for telling a man on his tractor nobody owns the land and walk back to my residence because of $83,000 free Shannon Mark. He lies on the road. A sworn officer of law. He's not even going to be fired, arrested, prosecuted. Nothing's going to happen to him. Lying freak cop Michael Houlihan, and this is why he's a lying freak cop. Text criminal perjury 73312 Michael Houlihan, Mount County Sheriff's Office. That 73312 Michael Houlihan, Mount County Sheriff's Office walked onto private property across from a residence, 26 Sandra Drive, Pemberton, New York, Christopher Chichester. That Houlihan ran at Chichester proxy 181 with $85,000 down Benedetto Sheriff's Office. That Chichester ran away from Houlihan and Benedetto on away the identities. That Chichester grabbed the hammer alongside the residence next to his bike, used to fix the bike's tire. That Chichester placed his foot on the first of 3 steps. On the back porch, Houlihan grabbed his arm, the hammer, and Chichester's hands forced upwards. Chichester ran across his back porch through the sliding glass door, and Chichester never stopped running his pops swinging the hammer at 73212 Michael Houlihan. What do you not understand, Michelle Crowley? It's not a rhetorical question. I ran the whole time. It's impossible to swing the hammer at him. I would have said this to the grand jury if you called me to the grand jury when you convened it. So it doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. Michael Houlihan lied on the road. It doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. Michael Houlihan died Benedetto on the private property of my neighbor. 4 criminal complaints here. Richard J. Seaman walked into Pemberton Public Library because one person in Monroe County in the state of New York, Paul Siemens, wants to send me to jail. The district attorney's office this day, when Richard J. Seaman attacks me, is not there. And I meet my public defender when I'm brought into Pemberton Town Court. You, public defender Julie Sianka, know I'm supposed to be in Pemberton Town Court for the window dressing of me having counsel, but I don't. So Richard J. Seaman walked into Pemberton Public Library, ran at me, slammed his arm to the side of my head. I fell backwards. My head hit the ceramic tile. He should be in state prison for this. This is not jail for Richard J. Seaman and his $74 salary. Criminal complaints here for these 4 individuals in addition to Michael Houlihan. You'll concoct crimes for me where I'm in jail for telling a man on his track nobody owns the land next to my residence, walk back residence. Then you ignore real crimes. So, July 22nd, 2023, Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14604, Sandra Doorley, District Attorney, 47 South Fitzhugh, Rochester, New York, 14604. Attached are 4 criminal complaints with this language. 1, quote, that Richard J. Seaman, the Mount County Sheriff's Office, walked into Pemberton Public Library in Pemberton, New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the ceramic tile floor, end quote. 2, quote, A-Rod shot, Layla Kumar shot, 2033 Pemberton, New York, false report an incident of Christopher Chichester falling 26 centimeters from driving as walking next through the park lot next to his residence, end quote. 3, quote, Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, locked the front and back doors of the residence 26 centimeters from driving Pemberton, New York, without a court order, end quote. 4, quote, Laura Riley, Webster, New York, transported the personal belongings of Christopher Chichester 26 centimeters from driving Pemberton, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order, end quote. These are crimes. Each individual will not be arrested or prosecuted. There is a 1-day in jail served for these crimes that destroy my life because you're incapable of identifying crime. You've got crimes for this citizens, you hate human condition. There are 2 links here where I'm talking to you on this July 22nd, 23. Rejection for 113-918-42 cent Perry Douglas and 112-508-75 Mark Monahan. I'm telling you, you're going to reject these criminal complaints from me. And I'm telling you, unconstitutional. Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, and Alex Renzi. I call it unconstitutional because I'm absolutely confident and convinced that it's unconstitutional for Paul C. Messer to convene Pemberton Town Court when 1, the District Attorney's office is not present to make an argument I committed a crime, and 2, I meet my public defender 5 minutes before she's going to declare me guilty of the fiction in the fantasy land that occupies her sick brain. You'll never know, you freaks and sociopaths, at that District Attorney's office, Sheriff's office. You'll never know. You'll never know that you're afflicted with antisocial personality disorder. You have no idea. When I tell Todd Baxter that it's not a crime, 1, to walk through this parking lot, and 2, it's not a crime to tell a man on his tractor that nobody owns this land next to my residence, it doesn't matter to him. There is no there. Gertrude Stein, from her book, Everybody's American in 1937. There is no there with Todd Baxter. He does not exist in his mind. when I'm telling him that this is not a crime, because the blue wall silence infects him to protect his lying freak cop Shannon Meyer, just like the blue wall silence empowers Todd Baxter to protect his freak cops Don Benedetto, Michael Huan, Andrew Yao, who charges me with a ransom second when Jermaine Bevan snaps my head back at the gym called PW Fitness in Penfield. We go out to the car. I'm in the back seat of the Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicle. Andrew Yao instructs Jermaine Bevan what to say to me. Bevan walks around to the side of the vehicle, and with these 7 words, I'm charged with harassment second. I want to press charges against you. I'm charged with harassment second sitting in the back seat of Andrew Yau's Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicle. This is why we're Jonestown at the Sheriff's Office. Again, him returning my mail. Purple Heart stamp. Again, my uncle. I'm always using these Purple Heart stamps to think about him. And I think about what I don't own. Other things I bought when I went to see him in Detroit that I have 40 years. Just like I don't have my dress greens from 17th Cavalry 101st Airborne Division. I don't have my BA from the State University of New York, Stony Brook. I don't have my 1,000+ books. I don't have my bed. I don't have my clothes. And this is all because of 80-year-old Antonino Spano. It's a crime in a state of New York to lock the doors on a tenant without a court order. And you're just going to blow off the law at the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office. It's a crime in a state of New York to move everything out of a tenant's residence without a court order. Antonino Spano committed the crime of locking the doors and locking me out without a court order. My ex-girlfriend, Laura Marley, committed the crime of moving everything to a storage locker without a court order. What's not to understand, you freaks, fanatics, and sociopaths at the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, about crimes that are being committed upon me? So, what's not to understand? January 18, 2023. And I had been demanding names of my prosecutor's silence 12 months before this. This is over a year ago, on this January 18, 2023. This arrived at the District Attorney's Office repeatedly. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before John P. Lenzo Jr. Penfield Court was named the prosecutor, Sandra. This is my handwriting a year ago. Is that Judy Hahn or is that not Judy Hahn? This is the 5'2" 3 suit boy I know what he looks like. I've seen his picture online, but I don't have certainty what his name is. What's his name? Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Paul C. Messer, Penfield Court was named the prosecutor, Sandra. And then who elevated me to the exalted one? That's Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. The prosecutor signed Alex Renzi, and who is it? Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi was named the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley. So, this is a packet. There's 80 Freedom of Information Law documents on this July 22nd. I told you, a perjurer. Before I wrote the criminal complaint about Michael Hulan being a perjurer, I was on YouTube about him. Perjurer, 73212 Michael Hulan, Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Violence, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, 75904 Richard J. Seaman. These 2 links here, perjurer and violence. I was talking about these 2 psychopaths, Michael Hulan and Richard Seaman, before I wrote the criminal complaints. And I don't hear anything from Todd Baxter at the Sheriff's Office. Todd Baxter loves violence because Richard J. Seaman hasn't been fired. Todd Baxter loves perjurers because Michael Hulan hasn't been fired. So, this is Freedom of Information Law I wrote to you, Michelle Crowley, on August 25th, 2023. Information about the grand jury convened by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to Todd Christopher Chichester. That is 1, the day, month, and year the grand jury is convened. The assigned District Attorney's Office employee to address the grand jury. 3, the witnesses to testify to the grand jury. 4, the vote of the grand jurors. 5, the transcript grand jury proceeding. Michelle Crowley, Director of Grand Jury. How am I indicted as far as the vote? Is it a majority vote? And is there a transcript? What's the answer, Michelle Crowley? So, also on here, Todd Baxter received this repeatedly. The issuance of a new check to Christopher Chichester as this below for an expired check in the amount of $61.39. The County Row Office Sheriff and May Fund account. That's the dollar amount the Poppy Chichester and violently attacked the Penfield Public Library by 75904 Richard Seaman of Monroe County Sheriff's Office. This arrived registered mail return receipt or UPS or FedEx repeatedly since this August 25th. Todd Baxter, Sheriff of Monroe County, looks at this language I wrote about Richard J. Seaman violently attacking me at the Penfield Public Library. Does not matter to him because the blue wall silence is protecting Richard J. Seaman. So, when you appear in court, it does not matter how you live your life. I ETS from 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division on April 14th, 1988 with 60+ days leave. This is my DD-214. I do not have my original DD-214. The last payroll ceremony I went to, I received the Army Commendation Medal. I don't have my ARCOM that I had for over 30 years. Perry Duckles, I'm telling you on this January 1, 2023, over a year ago, disclosing on inside prosecutors, attached a PDF of 61-page free information or document dated December 20, 2023 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived December 22nd, 2022, December 26, 2020 via UPS, which track you have it. So I go on, I need to tell you to send me the names of my prosecutor's silence on this January 1, 2023. He refused. So, January 22nd, here's all your emails up here, including the sheriff's office about perjurer Michael Houlihan, Richard Seaton. Again, on January 24th, 2 days later, I'm telling you violently attacked me, I'm telling you he's a perjurer. On this January 26th, these links all arrived at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. Fanaticism, perjurer, violence, rejection, accountability. These 5 links here, where I'm repeatedly talking about Richard Seaton and Michael Houlihan, arrived at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office, and both of these freaks are still employed. Richard Seaton will attack another innocent citizen. I guarantee it. Michael Houlihan will lie under oath. Again, I guarantee it. So, February 5th, this is called information. February 5th, 2023, almost a year ago. This is about the grand jury. And you refused again to comply about the grand jury. This is July 13th, 2023. Again, the foils that I read about prosecutor's silence, all 3 right here. Disclose the names on prosecutor's silence. You will continue to refuse. This is exactly right. Then I say here, in this second and last graph, attached is documentation I sent to your office via registered mail, return receipt, United Postal Service, Federal Express for 18 plus months. I demanded using legally binding documentation. You disclose the names I prosecutor's silence. You refused and craved silence. And that's exactly right. And then here on this July 15th, before I wrote the complaint about Richard J. Seaton violently attacking me, I was on YouTube about him, talking about him repeatedly. And in writing, I'm talking about how he violently attacked me. And when I say in writing, this is what I wrote about Richard Seaton before I wrote the criminal complaint the next week. July 15, 2023. Todd, Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Richard, Rochester, New York, 14604. Your violent psychopath employee, 75904, Richard J. Seaton, stalked me at the public library. I stood up at the computer terminal. Seaton ran at me, slammed his arm at the side of my head. I fell backwards. My head hit the ceramic top floor. This violence is irrelevant to you. You embrace violence because your fellow psychopath and criminal will not be fired. When I write the criminal complaint, I will add details of assault by Seaton. He will not be arrested or prosecuted. Nothing will happen to your taxpayer subsidized sociopath that must undergo an immediate mental health examination. He will attack other innocent citizens. Did you order Seaton to stalk me into the library? Were you informed about his disgusting predatory behavior? Did you have no knowledge about his fanaticism and you refused to answer? Resign, Christopher Chichester, and my address that used to be on Park Avenue, UPS. So there's 2 things here. Sheriff Todd Baxter, you have no idea what this loose cannon cop, violent fanatic Richard Seaton is doing. Or you're telling him to stalk me into the Penn Public Library and attack me. And what is the answer? I'm going to write this down in more detail, and he's going to send the envelope back to me, and I'll hold that envelope up. Here on YouTube. This is, again, unconstitutional. On this July 16, 2023, I'm telling you in detail here about unconstitutional, about Paul Messer convening Penn Court when the district attorney's office is not notified. I mean, my public defender 5 minutes before she's going to declare me guilty of something and send me to Livingston County Jail. And in this 3rd graph, it is insane for any citizen to be in jail when a prosecutor doesn't make an argument in court. I have been in jail 6 times, and 6 times the assistant district attorney has not talked to court for John P. Lenzo Jr. Penn Court, Paul C. Messer Penn Court, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Total silence convicts me. What is the name of the freaking sociopaths the district attorney's office that forced me into Alex Renzi? I'm going to say this again for you freaks and sociopaths, the district attorney's office, because you don't understand English language. This is really simple. What is the name of the freaking sociopaths the district attorney's office that forced me into Alex Renzi? It's a prosecutor signed to Alex Renzi. That's who. So on this July 18th, again with the 3 foils, the same language that I've been reading. Prosecutor silence, July 18th. District Attorney Sandra Doorley looked at that and refused. The very next day. Foil, prosecutor silence with district attorney. She looked at it, refused. July 20th, for Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan. They looked at it, I hope, and refused, because I didn't send this to Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan like I do to district attorney, which is registered mail return receipt. But they refused. That's also emailed to Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan. So, Todd Baxter, did you call County Executive Madam Bello about this patronage hire Janice McNair right here? Janice McNair, Office of Public Integrity, right here. What's the answer, Sheriff Todd Baxter? Does it concern you employees at the District Attorney's Office that this Janice McNair was a 20-year employee at the Sheriff's Office, and there he is now working for Alan Bello as a double dipper? This is the corruption in Monroe County. Todd Baxter's a double dipper too. But Todd Baxter's an elected double dipper. He secured the vote in the franchise. He's the sheriff, so he's the double dipper. That's the way it is, and that's the law in the state of New York. Todd Baxter is using his power as the sheriff to create a double dipper in the person of Jansen McNair at the Office of Public Integrity. What a joke. Why does Monroe County or the city of Rochester need an Office of Public Integrity? Because there is no Office of Public Integrity in the city of Albany, where I lived for the 5 years of the 10 years I lived in Albany County. Despite the fact that it's one of the most corrupt cities and counties in the state of New York, where Erastus Corning was the mayor from 1941 to 1983. When I was there, Thomas Whalen was the mayor, who had a certain degree of integrity because he was no Erastus Corning. But there is no Office of Public Integrity because Thomas Whalen knows, and the previous Whalen knows, that it's so obviously patronage. Adam Bello doesn't know this because Adam Bello talked to Todd Baxter, and that's why Jansen McNair is at the Office of Public Integrity. Does that concern you, Mark Phillips? At the Public Defender's Office, this type of corruption and patronage is right near you? It should. November 15, 2023. Attached to Freedom of Information Law document dated November 15, 2023 that compels you to disclose the names of my prosecutor silence. I prosecute silence with John P. Lenzo Jr. Pemberton Court, Paul C. Metz, Pemberton Court, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Mail the names of my prosecutor's silence to my address listed below, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This arrived repeatedly now in the District Attorney's Office. She looks at it and refuses because she's corrupt. So, I have not talked to my mother and father now for 18 months. The last time I spoke to my mother, and one of the last times I spoke to my mother, I had to tell her in detail about what was happening to me, and I repeated how I'm charged with harassment second sitting in the back seat of Andrew Reality's Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicle, and how I'm charged with criminal attempt second just for telling a man on his tractor from Brock Hole Tree Lawn Care nobody owns the land next to my residence. So my mother, who is past 80, because she was born on February 15, 1939, when she's talking to me is using my full name, which she knows I don't go by. My mother and father are the only human beings on earth that call me by my full name that I do not correct them. And what I'm saying, the facts and circumstances, details of my mother, especially about harassment second and criminal attempt second, she's using my full name on the phone over and over and over. And this is an extremely difficult conversation to have to deal with, especially when I think about it. She said, Christopher, harassment second, who did you harass? And I would say, Mom, I didn't harass anybody. Christopher, how is it a crime to just tell a man on his track that nobody owns the land next to your residence and walk back to rent? You know, that's not a crime, Christopher. And I would say, yeah, I know, Mom. So, this is what you're doing to me. Freedom of Information, once it comes back to me, this is Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York. There are at least 30 in here for her. This is only Trinity Ross. Well, I'm telling her over and over and over for this 6-month period that you refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors of silence. And she could just blow me off. I don't know. I do not know if the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York in Buffalo, Trinity Ross, is every bit as corrupt as District Attorney Sandra Doorley. But I'm going to find out because I have not written to her directly. When you receive all this information, she's just copied on it. I'm going to write to her directly again soon. All these foils here that I sent you, there are, on this August 25th, 2023, there were 17 in here. I'm going to write all 17 of these again in the next week. It's going to have the exact same language. I'm going to update the foil that's right here, and you're going to refuse to comply with all 17 because you're corrupt, because the law's a joke to you. And I still don't know what to think about the totally flat, broke, no money District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This is a financial disclosure. She has no stocks, no bonds, no financial assets, nothing. $0. But she sent it to me. This bald-headed stooge and criminal who doesn't know if he's a Democrat or Republican, Todd Baxter did. Where's your financial disclosure, Sheriff Todd Baxter? I have not yet contacted State Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli in the Alfred E. Smith Building in Albany, New York, to demand you be audited. But she did send this to me. One of the things I will say to the Controller in the State of New York, to ask of him, I should say, because you can't demand anything as State Controller, to ask of him that you be audited, Todd Baxter. You're not even sending me your financial disclosure. Where is it? He will lie about anything, this bald-headed Benito Mussolini clone and stooge, because I got an email saying he needed an extension, which is ridiculous. He will lie about anything, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Comply with the Freedom of Information Law, documentation, send the names of our prosecutors' silence to the address on the foil. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man my whole life.